you've been told there's no money for Obamacare subsidies. We need to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid because they're entitlements that are just draining us. Disaster relief should be done at the state level. Education funding at the state level. Everything at the state level because the federal government just can't afford to do that. Right? That's what we keep hearing out of Donald Trump and the Republican Party. But there's enough money to give $70 billion to the immigration and enforcement agenda. Donald Trump signed a bill into law on Wednesday that gives his immigration and deportation agenda a nearly $70 billion boost for the rest of his time in the White House. The bill provides $38 billion for U.S. immigration and customs enforcement, otherwise known as ICE, and $26 billion for the Border Patrol. An additional $5 billion would cover unforeseen costs, according to the White House. Trump signed the legislation in the Oval Office a day after House Republicans pushed the measure through by a 214 to 212 vote over the objections of Democrats. His signature ended a nearly 6-month fight over Department of Homeland Security funding that began with shooting deaths of 2 U.S. citizens, Alex Preddy and Renee Good, in January during federal immigration enforcement operations in Minneapolis. Democrats began demanding changes to the immigration enforcement after the shootings and created an impasse. The agencies will be funded through the next 3 years. The new law front-loads routine annual funding, ensuring a virtually uninterrupted flow of money as the Trump administration seeks to deport some 1 million people per year. The legislation had become sidetracked over $1 billion for the White House security, including for Trump's new ballroom, and a $1.8 billion fund to compensate his allies who claim to be victims of political prosecution. Both proposals became politically toxic and were scrapped. The bill, as passed, focused exclusively on immigration enforcement, a topic that Republicans have treated as a defining issue between the two major political parties, and one the GOP hopes will carry it to victory in November's midterm elections. $70 billion to round up people and throw them out of the country. No money for healthcare. We got to cut your Social Security. We got to cut your Medicare. We got to cut your Medicaid. We got to cut your school funding, and any school funding that does exist. Of course, we've got to be able to turn that into vouchers for private school, so that folks who already are well enough to send their kids to private school could get a massive coupon for doing so. There's no money for any of that stuff. Education, infrastructure, medical care, retirement, no money for that. But there's $70 billion front-loaded for Donald Trump's Nazi police force. I will vote for any Democrat that says, if elected, they will work to undo all of this.